Alright, hello everyone, this is Mr. Loh here and welcome to this Sec 3 A-Maths Common Test 1 revision. As I want all of you to score with flying colors and flying stars, let us begin with this revision worksheet. Okay, let's start. You have all the questions and you also have all the answers. So for example, you do not know how to solve this question. So I will write down this recall and I want all of you to recall what is a to the power of 0. Now I try to cover the answer and you know it's 1. Now let's say 2 to the power of 0, you will tell me is 1 again. Very good. Now write down the answer for 3 to the power of 0, x to the power of 0 on your worksheet. Now when I mark your worksheet, then I will know if you have viewed the video or you managed to solve it without the video. Now let's say I have 4a to the power of 0. Now what this means is a to the power of 0 we know is 1. So 4 times a to the power of 0 is the same thing as 4 times 1, which I have 4. And there's a big difference between 4a to the power of 0 and 4a the whole thing to the power of 0. So in this case we say that anything inside the bracket to the power of 0 is 1. So in this case 2 plus 3 to the power of 0 is 1. What about 3 plus 2 squared to the power of 0? What about a squared plus b cubed equals to the power of 0? Now can you write your answer on a foolscap? And now that you know that the answer, can you try out this question now? Now remember, you can always press the calculator to check. Alright. Okay, well done. Now that we have done question 1 correct, now let's go to question 2. Now say I want to do this question, but I'm not so sure or I can't get the correct answer. I want you to recall. Now when we say same base and multiply and divide, we add and minus the power, the indices. So in this case, we say if am times an, they multiply, and then I'll add the power. So in the case of 3 squared times 3 to the power of 4, we add the 2 power together and we have 3 to the power of 6. Now common mistake. Now common mistake is when I have 3 squared times 3 to the power of 4. Because I see the times here, I will think, oh, I will now times the 2 power together and I have 3 to the power of 8. So don't make this mistake. Now try 3, one part 1 and one part 2. Now the other one is on BODMAS. We say that if I have a bracket, I will do bracket first, followed by division, multiplication, and addition, subtraction. So in this case, I will take 10 times 2 first, followed by divide by 4, and followed by plus 1. Do you get the 6 as the answer as well? Very good. Now let's go on to the third one. Now let's say instead of multiply, I have divide. 2 same base. So we say that the power will subtract. In the case of 3 to the power 8 and 3 squared, I will subtract the 2 power together and I have 3 power 6. Now try 3 part 3 and 3 part 4 now. Another common mistake that some of you have made is when I see a power divide by another power, I tend to divide the power together. Now you have to tell yourself this is not correct. And also another very common mistake is when I see 3 squared, straight away I take 3 times 2 and then I write that as 6. So tell yourself it is not correct. Give a big wrong and remind yourself not to do that. Alright, now do question 2a now and get your full marks. Alright, well done. Now that we have done 1 and question 2a correct, now let's go to 2b. Now 2b is a very common question where we have some alphabets here and they multiply and they divide, and sometimes it's very confusing. So I want you to refer to the video 20. It's in the YouTube playlist of this E-Maths Common Test revision. Now other than that, I also want you to recall that when we have a fraction multiplied by a fraction divided by a fraction, we say that the divide this fraction, it will actually flip when we change it to multiply. And we also know that when we have fractions multiplied together, it is actually the top times top times top, bottom times bottom times bottom. Now why is this important? Because we can first change the sign to multiply, and then we flip this 9 and 4 around, and then we can place it as a single fraction. Now once we have the single fraction, then we are ready to cancel for numbers. But for algebra like A or B, now we have another method that is in video 20. So can you go to video 20 now and refresh it? And I believe that you are able to do 2B now. Well done. Okay, clap, 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 clap. Now that all of you have solved question 1 and 2 correct, now let's go to question 3a. Now question 3a, you observe that I want to solve means I want to find x is equals to what? But in this case, x happens to be the index, which is not so straightforward. Now let us go to how we can solve this. Now so far we have learned solving of x as in two different types. Now the first one is what we call unknown base, is when x is just 2 times x. So this is easy because I know x is equals to 4. Now the other type is called unknown index, where the unknown is actually the power. So it's not so straightforward. I can't just say, oh, x is just like 2 divided by 2 or 3 divided by 2 and so on. So the very important thing that all of you must remember is, if unknown is the index, I must make it to the same base. So if the base are the same, then we say that the index are equal. Now let us look at the 3 different examples. Example 1, example 2, and example 3. Now I will zoom in to example 1 and 2. Now example 1 and 2 says that if I have the same base, then the power is the same. So in this case, if I have 2 to the power of x is equals to 2 to the power of 3, we say that x is equal to 3 as of this. Now, common mistake. Now, a lot of you likes to see that there's a 2 and 2 here and I start to cancel. Even though the answer is x to the power of 3, remember, this will be marked as wrong. Now, the second example, common mistake, is that when I see a 2 and a 4 here, I start to cancel. And then I say, oh, x must be equals to 2 to the power of 3. Now again, remember, this is not correct. Okay, now that we learned these two common mistakes, we go on to the second example, where I have actually 2x times 2. So in this case, can I say x is equals to 5? Not really, because I have an extra 2 here. So when I have 2 base, I can actually combine them into one base using this law. So we say that since now 2 to the power of this is 2 to the power of this, we say that the x plus 1 must be equal to 5 as the next step. So once we have that, then we can solve x easily. Now the third example is when I do not have a number that can be changed into a same base. So I want to remove the number by dividing the number over the other side. Now once we divide, we see, now I can change the same base, and similarly it can be solved. Now let us recap on this. We say that solving of x, there are two types. The first type is actually unknown base, where I have 2 times x. The second type is when I have unknown index, which is 2 to the power of x, and the key word is to make same base. Now let us go on to the next main idea, that is a common mistake. Now when I have, say, a to the power of m times to the power of n, we say, oh, this is easy. We say that the two power multiply together to have mn. Now common mistake is I see 3 square to the power of this, I will say 3 and then 8x plus 2. Now you want to know that this is not correct, because I multiply the power means I take 2 and then multiply by the whole thing, meaning you have to put bracket. And now you see that you will have the correct answer. Very good. Now, so remember that we mentioned about same base. So can you now change this 4 and this 32 to the same base? Now 32, if I want to change to the same base, it can be either 4 to the power of something or 2 to the power of something. Now usually we choose the same number as the question, but you see in this case I have a decimal and I may want to use 2 instead. Now if I change to 2, then I can use my calculator to try. So calculator will tell me 2 to the power of 1, 2 to the power of 2, 2 to the power of 3 and so on, and I have 2 to the power of 5 is equal to 32. So with this, you can now solve this question. Alright, I know all of us are trying our very best to get the very best result in Common Test 1, so let us go on to question 3b. Now question 3b is similar to the 3a, which is to find unknown index, but let us look at the possible solution. So when we say 2 to the power of x is 1 over 2, 3. So common mistake, very quickly you'll tell me, oh, then 2x must be equals to 2, 3, and then x must be equals to 3. Now we all know this is wrong. So what do we do? Or the question is, I need to change this number to 2 to the power of something, and what would this number be? Now let us go back to this revision. Now we all know that a to the power of negative n is 1 over an. So we say that if we change the index power, we flip the base. So in this case, the minus n will change the sign, minus become positive, and then we flip the base. So this is numerator, then we flip it, and then it becomes the denominator. So example will be 2 to the power of negative 3. If I change it, it will be 1 over 2 to the power of 3. Now, can you try this example here? Good. Now, we also know that the other way is true, meaning 1 over 2, 3. Now, if we change the index power, so positive 3 become negative 3, we flip the base. So denominator now become numerator. So we have 2 to the power of negative 3. So can you try this example, this one, and also this one? Very good. Now that you have tried all the examples, now it's your turn to solve 3b.